Hey, do you know what time it is? That's right. It's time for Coach Lindy's podcast. The podcast to get you moving. Hi, I'm Lindy Hutchinson, a certified life mastery consultant with the Brave Thinking Institute. As a life coach, I help others transform their life as I have mine. It's not easy, but it is possible, and it most certainly is worth it. Each week, I'll share insights that inform, inspire, and ignite in you your desire to create a life that you love. So let's find out what's going on this week. Welcome to the podcast. As always, it's my privilege to be with you for a few minutes. And we're going to be talking about an extraordinary lady who left us a few days ago. This recording is taking place on October 5th, 2025. And the lady is Jane Goodall. And she passed on October 1st. So what is it that's special about Jane Goodall? Well, most of you may recognize her name because she studied primates for 6 decades. And we'll read a little bit about her, go over some of the high points of her life. But one of the things that I appreciate most about Jane was her natural modesty and her desire to help mankind and animal kind and to get along in harmony with our surroundings instead of brutalizing it. She was born in April of 1934. She passed, as I mentioned, on October 1st, 2025. She was born in London. And she was a pioneer in the study of primates. And as I mentioned, she did that for many, many decades. In 1960, under the leadership of Louis Lackey, who did a great deal of research on this, she was able to get her PhD, which was from Cambridge, which was unusual for several reasons, but one, she had neither a bachelor's nor a master's degree, but she had done such thorough research and then tutelage under Lackey that they allowed her to receive a PhD. And her research was done largely in Tanzania. She had written several articles for the National Geographic. Her first book-length study, In the Shadow of Man, in 1972, was later translated into 48 languages. She founded the Jane Goodall Institute in 1977 to promote wildlife conservation, followed by a youth program, which apparently her grandkids continue now, called Roots and Shoots. In 1991. She was very concerned and did a great deal of work about environmental causes. She created sanctuaries and reforestation projects in Africa, and she campaigned very stringently for ethical treatment of animals. And if you look back in time, you understand that this was quite a challenge. She was a young, pretty blonde. In fact, I remember watching an interview where she was saying that, I think it was like Life magazine did an interview when she was very young. Her study started when she was in her 20s. In fact, she started actually as a secretary, and she had such a winning way. That's how she ended up also becoming a researcher and an authority about primates. But I believe it was Life magazine, seemed more interested in her physical appearance and beauty and the length of her legs, which shows you how far we've come in the world that we live in today. she was not, her interest was in helping animals and helping the planet. Throughout her life, she wrote 32 books, and 15 of them were designed for kids. She traveled extensively. She became an honorary member of the World Future Council. She received the National Geographic Society's Hubbard Medal, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In 2003, by Queen Elizabeth, she became a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Her accolades and recognitions go on and on and on and on and on. But some of the things that I find most notable about Jane is that she was always true. Our word for this week is true. And our Train Your Brain thought is Jane Goodall remaining true to her dream. So early on, she fell in love with primates. In fact, instead of getting a teddy bear, it was said that her dad gave her a stuffed chimpanzee, which she kept for most of her life. And she was fascinated with primates. And so she ended up spending most of her life in Africa. The thing about it is that so much of what she did and when she did it was when women were not literally in the field and figuratively in the field of study and endeavor, and they weren't taken seriously. And yet Jane, through her winning ways and her sweet personality, she was able to open doors, and she didn't barge her way in, but she showed true interest, and people apparently appreciated that. And if you go on YouTube, one of my favorite free places for great information, you will find there's all kinds of interviews and information about Jane and what she did. And you can tell she didn't wear her lady makeup. Not that that means anything, but she was just very earthy, very literally down to earth, and very dedicated and sincere about helping the planet, helping animals, and helping people in their relationship with animals. And there was a lot of ridiculous notions about primates, and she was able to shed a great deal of light on what was mostly ridiculous, and also the slaughter of animals needing to stop, and showing respect for the earth and having proper stewardship. So Jane Goodall this week, our tribute to Jane. I printed pages and pages and pages about Jane, and this podcast could go on for a couple hours, but I would encourage you, please look up information about Jane Goodall. She cared about people, she cared about the earth, and she was true. She was true to her dream. She was true to her mission. She led an amazing life. When she passed away just a few days ago, she actually was on a speaking tour at 91 years old. 91, and still speaking, still teaching, still reaching out to people to help them understand our important mission in taking care of our dear planet. So, amazing lady, Jane Goodall. So, from our Hey That's Funny file, Robin Williams said, "Why do they call it rush hour when nothing's moving?" Thank you, Robin. Another luminary that we will always treasure and appreciate all the joy and fun that he brought. So, my friends, until I see you again, keep creating a life that you love, keep contributing, keep teaching, expanding, and growing, because you deserve it. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for joining me this week. I look forward to being with you every week. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, please email me at coachlindy@lindyhutchinson.com. My name is spelled L-Y-N-D-I. So it's Coach Lindy, L-Y-N-D-I, at Lindy Hutchinson, L-Y-N-D-I, HUTCHINSON.com. I value what your input is, and I'm always open up for suggestions and ideas. If you will like and or subscribe to this podcast, that would be wonderful. I appreciate it. And I enjoy anything that you might want to send in, or if you would like some more information about coaching, send me an email and I will get back with you, and we'll talk about how you can create your best life. Have a good week. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.